I want to talk about one other use case, actually two other use cases. The next use case is, okay, but what happens when I have 50 different teams? And the developers on one team should not be able to see the resources by another team. Ah, this is interesting. What's missing from my diagram here, right? What do I not have an easy way to represent? And that is collections of resources mapped to actions. But that's a very normal thing to want, right? If you have a bunch of different development teams, you want them to see their stuff, but not everyone else's stuff. Now, one thing people have done in the past is give every one of them an account. Well, that can make sense. I generally argue for more smaller AWS accounts, but it's very often true that you actually need to restrict on resources. Well, you could say, can't I put resource policies on those things? That's another nightmare, right? That's another nightmare. Because now you've got policy proliferation again. Like the hair on the back of your neck should stand up every time you're adding policies. You should say, wait, this is a liability that I have to manage forever. Do I really need to do this way? Because there's probably, and this is where I said this gets complicated, there are different ways to assert control other than proliferating policies, and those have grown over time. So there's another one that's kind of newer, called attribute-based access control. And I want to point you there if you are doing lots of different development teams or just different teams, and they should have limited access based on something other than resource type and account, okay? And the way ABAC works, so ABAC for AWS is a way where you can have another filter, right? Another policy that can do denials, and it's going to be based on tags you put on resources. So independent of whether, and the way to think about this is just another filter, right? So here's your resource policy over here, right? Well, ABAC can be thought of as just another filter. And what ABAC is going to check is, does this thing have tags on it that match the appropriate tags on this particular principle? And if not, I'm going to deny. Okay, so this is another way to do it. Now, the beauty of that is you are now not proliferating policies, you are tagging objects. Probably you are already tagging for things like which application, which team, etc.